Hello everybody, I'm Alison. How are you this week? I hope you're well. Well, today's story is all about Reilly doing some things while he hasn't been at school. This story is called Reilly Paints a Rainbow. Shall we see what he's been up to? There was glitter everywhere. Red, green, blue, gold, shiny, sparkly glitter everywhere. Mum moaned and said, "Oh dear, we will have glittery floors for months. I'll never get them clean." But Reilly thought it looked lovely. He had been painting rainbows. On the last day of school, before everyone was sent home because of the virus, Mr. Dawson had shown Class 2 how to paint beautiful rainbows. He said everyone should put them in their windows as a sign of hope that families and friends would be together soon when things got back to normal. Mr. Dawson also said that the paintings would make people smile, especially elderly people who might have to stay indoors to be safe from the virus. The rainbows would let them know that everyone was thinking about them. That's when Reilly had a brilliant idea. He had the best idea he'd ever had. He was going to paint more rainbows. He was going to paint rainbows for everyone he knew that needed cheering up. There would be lots of people finding it hard to smile right now. There was his gran, who Reilly missed very much, then Mr. Fisher next door, and the older people who lived in the special sheltered housing flats at the end of the road. There were lots of people and lots of rainbows to make. Reilly would need help. That night, Mum showed Reilly how to video call his cousin Rosie. She was Reilly's best friend. They did everything together. He told Rosie about his plans and she said she would just love to help. Rosie was bored. Rosie said she was so bored she couldn't even get to sleep. Reilly laughed at that a lot. He had medicine to help him sleep. Rosie could be really funny. But now they both had a special important job to do and there was no time to twiddle thumbs. The next day, they both collected together paints, glue, paper and glitter. Everything they needed to set to work. It was such good fun. Mum video called Rosie again so that she and Reilly could chat and paint at the same time. Reilly enjoyed this very much. It was nearly as good as having Rosie at his house. It was lovely to see her, even if it did mean listening to her silly jokes. "How does the rain tie its shoes?" Rosie asked. Reilly shook his head. "With a rainbow," she giggled. Oh, Reilly thought that was the most terrible joke, probably the worst joke in the world. "What happened to the man who ate too many Skittles sweets?" she went on, undeterred. "He kept farting rainbows," she answered, roaring with laughter at her own joke. Reilly laughed too. His cousin could be really rude. When the paintings were done, Mum made an indoor washing line with string and drawing pins and hung them up to dry. She took a photo for prosperity or something or other, she said, because it's not very often you have a washing line of glittery rainbows strung across your kitchen. The next day when they were dry, Reilly and his mum went out to deliver the masterpieces. First of all, they put one on Mr. Fisher's front doorstep, then continued down the street. When they got to Gran's house, Reilly left her a very special rainbow painting that was covered in hearts and kisses. Reilly saw his Gran through the window. He was so excited. He flapped his hands and then he waved to her for a very long time. After the last rainbow drop-off at the sheltered housing flats, Reilly and Mum went for a walk for their exercise. It was nice to be outside, even though these days it was really strange because there wasn't that many people about, but Reilly enjoyed it nonetheless. On their walk, Reilly saw that lots of other people had painted rainbows too. There were even some chalked on the pavement. They were amazing. There were painted rainbows, glitter rainbows, scrunched up tissue paper rainbows, some with clouds, some with sun. It was so nice to see. Reilly loved the rainbows. They made him feel like everyone was in this together and doing their very best to stay safe. Walking back home, Reilly was glad to see his rainbow paintings already sellotaped in some of the windows. The lovely sheltered housing people had them up, and some of Rosie's paintings too. And Gran had Reilly's special picture pride of place in the middle of the living room window, and she waved at Reilly and blew kisses again for a very long time. Eventually they got back home. Reilly had done a great job, but he was disappointed. He couldn't see his rainbow in Mr. Fisher's window. Reilly was beginning to wonder if it had got lost. What if it had blown away? Mum said she didn't think so, as it wasn't really windy, and anyway Reilly could always make another. Reilly agreed, but it was a shame. It was a rather good painting. When they went indoors, Mum told Reilly to go and wash his hands. Oh, not again, thought Reilly. He didn't really understand why Mum asked him to wash his hands so often. I mean, it's not like he'd been playing on the mud or had a wee or was going to have lunch. It seemed like every 2 minutes he had to wash his hands with Mum's special soap. Do I have to? He said. Let me show you something, said Mum. Reilly, she went on, I want you to pour some of your red rainbow glitter on your hands and rub them together really quickly. Reilly was shocked. He couldn't believe it. This was one thing that Mum had always been really strict about. No drawings on walls, only paper, keep paints on the kitchen table at all times, and be really, really, really careful with glitter. Come on, said Mum, it's fine. So Reilly did. He didn't really like doing this though, it felt weird, and sometimes Reilly doesn't like to touch some things. But he did it, and soon his palms were sparkly bright red. What now, thought Reilly, but Mum said it was time to get back to schoolwork and to just wait and see. Reilly thought this was strange. The glitter was getting absolutely everywhere. As soon as he picked up a pen, it got glitter on it. He took a drink and it was all over his water bottle. It ended up on everything he touched. Books, crayons, kitchen benches, even the TV remote when schoolwork was finished. And Mum didn't even seem to mind. Eventually, when it seemed like there was a glitter trail all over the house, Mum explained. She said, now, Reilly, imagine that the glitter isn't actually glitter. Imagine it's the germs of the coronavirus and they were all over your hands. Reilly didn't like that thought one little bit. Now imagine you didn't wash your hands, Mum explained. Now look at the glitter and see where it's gone. It's gone everywhere. Oh, now look at your hands, said Mum. Reilly looked. The glitter was still on his hands, but it was everywhere else. And then Mum showed him her hands. Mum's hands had glitter on her too. She even had it on her nose where she'd scratched it, even though she hadn't even been near the glitter pot. She had picked it up from Reilly. And that's how glitter and the virus is passed on. Oh, Reilly understood now why it was so important to wash your hands thoroughly and often. Reilly washed his hands, front, back, in between fingers, everywhere to get rid of the glitter. Mum said you had to wash your hands for the right amount of time too. So she suggested Reilly sang Happy Birthday twice when he washed his hands. Then he would know he had washed them thoroughly. Reilly thought that was silly. Why would he sing Happy Birthday when it wasn't someone's birthday? He wished people would explain and say what they mean. But Mum said it was okay, and he could sing Row, row, row your boat instead, and it would still get the job done. Reilly knew that people were getting sick from this awful virus and that some people ended up in hospital where doctors and nurses were working really hard to get them better. Mum said that night they had something really important to do. She said at 8 o'clock everyone in the whole country was to come out of their houses, go into their gardens and clap and cheer as loud as they could to say thank you to all the very brave, important key workers that were keeping us safe. Everyone in the whole country would do it. Wow! Reilly couldn't imagine how many people that was. So that night they got ready and carefully watched the clock. At 8 o'clock, Mum, Dad and Reilly went outside. Reilly couldn't believe what he saw. The whole street was out clapping and cheering. Oh, it was so lovely to see everyone again. Mum was so happy she got a bit sniffy and she said she had something in her eye, so Dad gave her a cuddle. Just then, Mr. Fisher opened his door and came outside. He was cheering and making such a racket, banging a saucepan and spoon, and he had painted his face blue. Everyone laughed, and Reilly covered his ears. He didn't really like such loud noises. After the thank you clap, Mr. Fisher shouted to Reilly, "Well, thank you very much, Picasso," he said, smiling. "I was hoping to see you. Thank you for my rainbow. I'm pinning it on my front door right now for everyone to see. I should get your autograph now. I wouldn't be surprised if that painting's worth something someday." Reilly didn't understand what that meant, but Mum and Dad looked really pleased. "What a thoughtful boy you are, Mr. Fisher Gus, and such a talented artist." Reilly was glad Mr. Fisher's painting hadn't blown away, and he felt really proud he had made people happy. It's amazing what a rainbow could do. Have you been painting rainbows too, like Reilly, this week? If you have, you can maybe show us some of your paintings and get Mum to help you post them right here. Next week's story is all about Reilly at the beach, so we'll see what he gets up to then. I hope you have a good week. Stay safe. Bye.